Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're just going to do another reaction to a video called Some with Six Figures Are Struggling with Food Insecurity by the CBS Evening News. And this was only posted a month ago. And if you didn't know, a lot of people who make six figures are living paycheck to paycheck, right? More than half of Americans making over 100,000 live paycheck to paycheck in 2022. And then you look at CNN, more families making over 150 are living paycheck to paycheck. This is 2024. 2025, why are people making six figures living paycheck to paycheck? So they got all this data about, people living paycheck to paycheck. Okay, don't mean to laugh, but it's what's happening. And I think that's why it's important to know it's not just about making the money, but you have to know how to manage it. And for some reason, we only focus about making the money. And then I think because of people's egos, like we got too much of an ego, it's like, oh, I already know how to manage it, right? Which most people don't. That's why they're paycheck to paycheck. All right. So let's go ahead and watch and see what's up.
Most clearly these days at the grocery store. But you can also see it at food banks, where people who never dreamed they'd need it are turning for help. Even some with six-figure incomes are struggling to feed their families. Mark Strassman has tonight's Eye on America from Wallingford, Connecticut.
Forget the image you may have of people who are hungry. In America, hunger is now as mobile as this food bag serving a line 60 deep in Connecticut.
Being under financial stress takes a lot of time, a lot of planning, sometimes.
Take Chandra Kelsey, grocery shopping on a tight budget for her family of 5.
It's whatever's on sale.
Food insecurity eats at her, a lifelong trauma.
You remember going to food banks? Mm-hmm. What was it like?
The first time I did it, I cried. To be in a position where you are doing okay and then you lose everything the next day, it's humbling. It's scary.
And yet you'd never suspect Need has lived with his family.
Household income is roughly
150, 2 people working full time.
I wonder how much that 150 goes in Connecticut because, like, if you make $150,000 in San Francisco, that's bad. And I remember, like, I read statistics about how, like, in Los Angeles, okay, if you make like 90,000, you're considered to be poor or something like that. Yeah, so 150,000 in Connecticut because I know like Connecticut's a very high cost area, I think. I've never been there, but I think it is. Oh, cool. Is that a Pokeball? Anyway, uh, anyways, I don't think it'll go that far. So six figures isn't always six figures everywhere. Six figures in rural Georgia, that's a lot. But six figures in Connecticut, I don't think they'll go that far.
Sometimes I work 2 jobs.
how can you make $150,000 and be food insecure?
That's not what you bring home after taxes. You know, we have mortgage, insurance. We've got one kid on their way to college, one in college.
So mortgage insurance, you always have to pay, right? Well, I don't want to say always, right? But if you count for taxes and mortgage and insurance and the interest that you pay, it's probably like 2/3 of your income. And but college, I feel like these days is optional, right? So I feel like you cut out the college if you need to go, just because like, hey, you need a degree, to go to community, right? So much cheaper. And then go to your like local state school and then tell your kid get the heck out of there as soon as possible. Graduate within a year, right? And then but a lot of people don't do that because I don't know what it is, but I feel like people these days see college as a right and then they just don't take it seriously, which is a shame, right? Student loans are the worst because, unlike any other loan where they're going to financially anal probe you to see if you can pay it back, because the government guarantees student loans, they just don't care, right? Like it's like, oh, well, we're guaranteed to get the money back. Government's guaranteed it. And then, if you look up statistics, student loan is like their number one asset for the federal government. Kind of insidious, but it is how it is. So whenever a politician says, "Oh, we're gonna forgive it," why? Just think about it from their perspective. Like, why would you give up your number one asset? Why would you forgive? That is the stupidest thing ever. So it's just all talk, no action. So you can't believe it, but people want to believe it, and that's why, like, obviously to get votes, give them that hopium, right? Not the opium, give them the hopium, okay? But point is, don't go to college.
Something as small as, $1,000 expense could throw things off significantly.
This one's crazy looking.
On and off for a decade, Kelsey has relied on help from Connecticut Food Share, the state's largest food bank. She and 2 of her children now give back by volunteering here. All this food, and it's still not enough. Nationally, more than 50 million people need help getting food from charities like this one. Here in Connecticut, that's 1 in 8 people.
That's a crazy amount. 1 in 8 people. I always see these statistics, but every time I leave my house, I swear, like, there are so many people in like restaurants and supermarkets, and it seems like they have a ton of money. Like, how are you all here? Isn't Whole Foods supposed to be like whole paycheck? But I swear, every time I go to Whole Foods, it is full.
They're your neighbor, they're your friend, they could be your family.
Jason Jakubowski, Connecticut Food Share CEO, told us demand for their food jumped 23% last year. He expects another double-digit increase this year.
Are you seeing more people with higher incomes who need your help?
100%. Many of them come to us and say, I donated to you for years, and I never in a million years thought I would have to use this service.
What has changed?
A lot of economic unpredictability. They're scared about their cost of living is going to go up to. They're scared about what the price of eggs is going to be.
Chandra Kelsey's scared about her job. She works as a program director at the Yale School of Public Health and worries about continued government funding of universities such as hers.
Didn't they cut funding like to all these public health stuff? I feel like they cut funding to Harvard. But okay, I don't know. All right, so I'm just gonna keep playing, but I was just thinking that out loud.
Trying to be very cognizant that it could be around the corner.
And in its own way, Connecticut Food Share is feeling food insecure. Government DOGE cuts last month slashed nearly $2 million from its food budget.
How do you replace that?
We don't. That's the problem.
Is there any hope here?
We still live in America. People always step up to the plate. It may not be enough food, but we're going to keep doing whatever we can to try to provide.
Provided to more families who never suspected their new worry is their next meal. For Eye on America, I'm Mark Strassman in Wallingford, Connecticut.
All right. Well, as you can see, making money is not enough. And let's take a look at some of the comments. If they're having trouble with 6 figures, imagine what seniors on Social Security are experiencing. Oh, that's true. Imagine how someone making less than half of that is feeling. I always kind of think that every time I go to like a minimum wage place where like, a grocery store, like, oh, cashier probably not making that much. Like, how do you survive? Because I remember when I used to make that much as a cashier, I was like, how do you survive? And a lot of people out there where like they work these minimum wage jobs, and even the big corporations that employ them wonder how they survive. Like McDonald's did a study where like the outcome of the report was we literally don't know how our minimum wage workers survive, right? Interview someone that really can't afford food. Imagine that, trying to live off disability, SSDI less than 1,500 a month, and now living in fear you won't even have that. This is honestly offensive. She's putting kids through college, something poor people don't have the privilege to do. She's not poor. Yeah. So a lot of people not really feeling the empathy for this person. Yeah. So that's where we are today in America. It's food lines. Actually, let me just do this. I'm curious. Okay. So like I remember watching like these news articles about people in food lines and they just couldn't afford food, and there was like thousands of cars, and I feel like the problem is going to get worse because if that dude says like, oh, demand has increased about 25%, I feel like people won't know how to manage, right? I feel like this is why people are getting meaner and meaner. You ever notice that? Like you step outside your house and it just feels like people are so much more friendly nowadays than they were before. I mean, they were pretty unfriendly, but I feel like, how unfriendly can they get? Probably because it's like their mindset that, scarcity, right? But yeah. All right. Well, that's it for this video today. So let me know what you think, what's going on. Have a great day. It's Karina Atlanta Mentorship, and I'll see you on the next video.